Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got a completely jam packed show for you today. We've got four new decks, plus a ton of weekend mission decks, and so much more. Before we get started, though, please hit that sub, ring that bell, leave a comment. We bring you at least three brand new decks every single weekday. We keep you on top of the meta with bundle guides, with ways to get to infinite, with pro tips, with everything you could possibly need to make your Marvel Snap journey complete. Subscribing and supporting us is free to you and helps us hugely. Plus, we just hit 8,000 subs and we're doing an 8,000 sub special 5 season pass giveaway. We are giving away Scar if you want, or you can wait and get Black Swan next month. All you have to do is sub and comment on this video. That's one entry to win. There will be a winner in the comments to this video. There will also be a winner in the comments to yesterday's video. There were two yesterday, actually, the OTA and the other one, and Wednesday's video. So a comment on any of those is a way to win either Scar or Black Swan. If you're interested, leave a comment, hit a sub. Hopefully you enjoy the content. We do really positive content. We help a lot of people hit infinite and climb high into infinite. So hopefully you enjoy this and we can help you. We also maintain a giveaway sheet. If you'd like some free stuff, check it. It's in the description to this and every video. All right, our outline for the day. We are beginning with our giveaway, which we just talked about. Then we've got questions of the day and some reminders. We've got our first deck from Chaos Pro. We've got another deck that is reasonably similar from Amano Satoshi. Amano is the player who came in second in the Conquerors event. Chaos Pro is a YouTuber, excellent player, who built this really cool Go Tall move deck. We were going to do something else, but then W tagged me like at 8:30 p.m. with a deck. And if you're new here, we always cover W decks here. W has broken the meta wide open like 5 different times. He has the best ratio of creating decks to breaking the meta with decks of anyone in the game. So we're gonna look at some W deck. Then every Wednesday we vote for a underplayed card that we would like a deck for. The We Vote Wednesday winner this week is Captain America's deck from Phil Woodward. Congrats, Phil, and congrats to Cap for winning. Check out Phil on Twitter. Then we've got weekend mission decks. I've got 5 for you today. And finally, we're going to finish with what I think might be the secret best deck in the meta. I'm throwing it at the end for the real G's who watch the whole video. It is a JD Macdonaldinho, a constant top 100 player and a really cool person outside of the fact that his Twitter profile picture is like a super close of a Lambie that horrifies me. But he's extremely cool. I'm a big fan of his, and he just casually dropped what is one of the best decks in. We'll end as always with Shop and Shop. All right. Things to know. This is a daily snap show. We got 3 decks daily and have numerous recurring segments. So if you like a segment, do let me know in the comments and I'll try and make it recur more often. OTA thoughts and 30 new decks for the OTA were yesterday afternoon's video. If you're interested, make sure you check that out. Remember to comment for an entry for the giveaway. And tomorrow, over on the Marvel Snap Zone YouTube, because there is a video every day. It's also on every podcatcher. Will be the top 10 decks in Snap with Den. I put it. Oops. Den and Min. Den, Marvel Snap Zone's head writer, and Min, our friend Rito in disguise. Our regular next episode will be back Sunday at 8 a.m. If you're interested, if you like the content, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/snapjudgments. And if you personally need help, you are in Series 3 and you're looking for good decks, message me either on Twitter or Discord. And within a few days, I will get back to you. I will help you build top notch decks with your collection, no matter where you. Oh, let's keep going. Inner Chimp asks if everything were unearthed, what the 5 strongest cards would be. So perhaps you know Lambie, the best player in Marvel Snap. Heard of him? There is a podcast released earlier this very month with Lambie on it, with Peaceful C on it, with Savage Eddie on it. And in that podcast, I guess it was released at the end of December. Sorry. In that podcast, we rank the top 10 decks ever in Marvel Snap, which naturally includes the 5 strongest cards unnerved. Um, the big two are Loki, the original 3/5 Loki, and Zabu. They're the big two, 3/2 Zabu. Other strongest cards include um pre-nerf Kitty Pride. The first 1/0 gets 2 bounces every turn. Kitty Pride is completely busted. And Elsa Bloodstone when she gave +3. The only other card I think really in contention, which rounds out the top 5 nicely, is Original Surfer. Thanos, many of you are going, where is Thanos? he would be there, but there were like 6 nerfs that put Thanos in the ground. So like which one do you really put there? Which Thanos deck do you put which Thanos card do you unnerf, right? Because Thanos himself's nerfs weren't the problem, although the original Space Stone was crazy strong. What puts Thanos in the hole is like they nerfed Quinjet out from under it, and that you're not unnerfing Quinjet isn't like that broken, right? And then the other thing that was unnerfed with Quinjet was Lockjaw. And you can make a case for Lockjaw being there, so maybe Lockjaw is number 6. Cool. Shofi asks what my favorite 2 card combo is. Um, and it's probably Multiple Man Phoenix Force. I don't know if that counts, but it is if it does. Um, if not, it's Annihilus Hood. Cool. I really, really love Annihilus Hood. I really, really, really love Hitmonkey and oh, where did Hitmonkey come from? Ooh, Hitmonkey Mysterio. That one's right up there too. The Hitmonkey Mysterio. Let's go. Beast Werewolf is a big one, but gotta be Beast. All right, Beast Werewolf is number 1. I take it back. Cool. That's my favorite 2 card. Kazushi wonders about feature location choices, especially as they favor dominant decks. So I hate featured locations. That's like a thing that is true. I don't. I really, really, really hate when they only favor certain decks, especially when those are the meta decks, because we already see enough of the meta. I think it's a terrible play when Marvel Snap does it. I think they did it this week because they knew they were nerfing Thanos Blob and they were giving it one last hurrah with a favorable. Fine, I guess. I still don't play on those damn things. Um, the other thing worth noting about featured locations is sometimes they're not bad. Sometimes the location is very minor, and in those cases, then they don't bother me nearly. Last Pancake asked about them saying they'd test cards more, and I think this is important. They said that when they nerfed Elsa, and when they nerfed Elsa, it was mid to late October. We know that they have a 2 to 3 month lead because by the time Glenn was designing cards, it was like 2 to 3 months after he started. So we know they have a 2 to 3 month lead in cards already in the pipe, already fully ready for those 2 to 3 months. Well, if we're mid October, we're mid November, we're mid December, let's say we're mid January. Hey, what's today's date? January 19th? Cool. So this should be around when they're releasing the cards that are tested under the new system. So, with all that given, we should still be just finishing up the last batch of cards from the old system, from the way things were when they made Loki, Elsa, etc. All these broken cards, and things should be getting better. Does that mean they will? How the hell should I know? Right? It could get better, it could not get better. But if the new system is going to work, we wouldn't know yet. We should just be finding out now. And I'll tell you right now, unless Grandmaster is completely bonkers, no, nothing in this whole month has touched Blob. Nothing in this whole month has touched Ms. Marvel. Scar is a great card. He's a tier down from that. Kyra is a great card. She's a tier down from that. And again, Grandmaster might make me eat my words, right? But it seems like January is more balanced design. And yes, they just gave an extra power to Hercules, but that's not what makes Hercules so much better. The power is nice. What makes Hercules so much better is the buff to Dagger, which I think is really cool. And I'd rather them do that and make people FOMO for Hercules than just leave Dagger a kind of shitty card. If you'd like your questions read out in tomorrow's video, tomorrow being Sunday in this case, leave one in the comments. Priority answers for Patreons. As always, check out the Patreon. All right. Our first deck is Chaos Pro's Move Tribunal. Hey, Chaos Pro. Hope you enjoy the video. Chaos Pro basically says, but what if I make Human Torch or Dagger huge? This was originally Multiple Man before Dagger. And I know it says Hercules is a 4/6 and Dagger is a 2/2. The Marvel Snap Zone deck builder didn't update yet. You can see the date on this. It just didn't update yet. I'm really sorry. Um, this deck's whole goal is build a gigantic torch or dagger. When you build that like epically big torch or dagger, move it around with cloak, human torch, ghost spider, iron fist, you get extra moves from Hercules, so the card gets completely bonkers huge. Dagger doesn't get as big as you'd like, but she gets plenty big to get like 20-ish in each lane. And Torch easily is 40 in each lane. And then you drop Tribunal on the last turn and you win. This deck works stupidly well. However, huge caveat, works best with Torch and Killmonger is back in the meta. This cannot fit Kyra. So, depending on how much Killmonger you play, you will have a blast with this deck. It's extraordinarily strong. Alright, so Ghost Spider here can be Nico or Multiple Men. You need Tribunal and Herc. And Doctor Strange versus Multiple Man is the last spot. There's not enough of a sample size of this exact version after the OTA, but there is a version that ran Multiple Man over Doctor Strange that has a crazy high win rate, like with like a crazy high cube rate, like 64% with a really like 58% cube rate in 70 games, so not like a ton, but it's really, really strong. It's a really powerful deck. I think you should try it. Run when you see destroy, unless you're gonna build up your dagger. Otherwise, rock face. You'll occasionally lose to a Shang, but if they don't know you're gonna tribunal, they often Shang in the wrong spot. All right. So a bunch of content creators, including our friend Paper, hey Pape, have been crushing with this deck. This is really strong. I just played it for all my dailies today. I didn't have a ton of time today, but I played it for all my dailies, and I rolled face. So turn 1, Forge over Torch. Turn 2, Torch or Dagger. Turn 3, you move. If you get Cloak, it's extra good here. Turn 4, Herc on that Cloak, and then when you move that card over, Herc is going to chuck it away. Or you can just bounce some cards. That's perfectly fine. Move it over to Cloak, and then bounce all those cards back. Beast especially good here because then you get the extra use out of the one for Cloak. Turn 5, drop and move again. Cloak and Strange are phenomenal here because you can pull the big thing to Strange and then push it back to Cloak, and you replay everything you can to move again. Turn 6, Tribunal, win the game. Quick variant talk. We've got Hellfire Gala Forge, then we've got Peach Ghost Rider. I also throw the Peach Doctor Strange, which, oh my god, do I love the Peach Doctor Strange. We've got this cool Iron Fist that I think goes reasonably well with Hercules. I don't know if it's the same artist, but it looks like it. 1602 Dagger and Cloak because they're friends and belong together. Because I have Steampunk Hulkbuster, I threw Steampunk Falcon in. Again, we're pairing up cards here. And then we've only got 2 hips, but because of the way it works, oh, we've got the Human Torch that I don't like, but whatever. And then we've got the Tribunal and Beast as the hips for the deck. So this is fairly paired up, which I think is like kind of cool. I don't know. Hopefully you like it too. Um, do I have any more hips? Yeah, I have a hip falcon, so there could be an extra hip in here, but like I thought the pairing up of cards was cooler. All right. Also, this is Satoshi Amano's deck. Amano again is the Conquerors player, Japanese player who's phenomenally skilled and builds really cool decks. So I was chatting with Den, and the version of this that ran Vulture instead of Dagger was the highest win rate bounce deck of the last chunk of season, according to the stats that Den has access to. This deck with Vulture, who's now worse than Dagger with Hercules, was higher win rate than the Annihilus bounce, was higher win rate than my bounce. It was the highest win rate deck we had in our um trackers. We covered this deck last week with again Vulture in the Dagger spot. We covered the Amano deck. It's also in sleeper decks last week. He just tweeted it out. But this deck is very strong and very good. It's worth noting that you can change quite a few cards from this deck. Ghost Spider is perfectly fine as either Doctor Strange or Cloak. Zabu can easily be Craven, and you need Werewolf. Nico is also just like filler, right? Like Nico can be anything. She's really good. The +2 is good, but like a Hulkbuster, throw it in, have fun, right? Meanwhile, Werewolf wins lanes. Hercules throws everything all over the place. It's really hard for your opponent to plan. And surprise Shang-Chi smashes faces. This deck is and very cool. Amano is a brilliant deck builder, and if you're looking for a powerful deck that is hard to play, has a lot of moving parts, but is really cool, check it out. And if you want to check last week, you can find the guide for it. All right, W made a deck. Thank you to our friend Gunny T. We're going to talk about him one more time in this video later. Thank you so much to Gunny T, the homie, for putting this together with his own variants. You know, I'd never put this many pixels. I'll tell you what variants I'd use for these at the end. But Gunny T put the W control deck. This is based off the Revis control deck that was famous for the Cozy controversy, if you remember it. Yeah, my eyes rolled. Feels so long ago, but it was just like 3 weeks ago, right? But this is a very cool deck. It is a straight up Sarah control that basically wants to get Sarah and Zabu out and then do some damage in the game. This replaces fundamentally a Ms. Marvel package with Werewolf and Iron Lad. It also runs Medusa instead of some other card. But like it's fundamentally the big difference is it's running Werewolf and Lad. Werewolf is power without like the downside of Ms. Marvel being really hard to trigger when you're running this many 4s and 2s. And hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but Iron Lad's really good. And Iron Lad has a lot of good hits in this deck. You're happy to hit Medusa, Shadow King, Zabu, You don't want to hit Maximus. You don't want to hit Gladiator. Killmonger, Shang-Chi, Werewolf, Enchantress, Sarah, and Doom. It's a lot of good hits. A lot of. It is worth knowing that this does not run Mobius, and it's possible the meta goes back to a lot of cost reduction now that Thanos Blob is nerfed. Well, now that Blob is nerfed. So if that's the case, then you'll want to put Mobius back in, potentially for Killmonger, potentially for another card. I think the swing spot would probably be Medusa or Lad. Sucks, but that's where we are. So this needs Zabu and Werewolf. If no Wolf, play the normal Reva's Control. You can check that out in a million places. Um, I look at my stats, and I know most of you watch Cozy, and you know Cozy Carp. All right, Gladiator can be Spider-Man or Polaris just fine. I greatly prefer Spider-Man, but Polaris is fine. And Iron Lad can be Stegron. This is, again, Gunny's suggestion. I think it's a really cool suggestion. I would probably just run Mobius, but hey, what do I know? Okay. Turn by turn and snapping. W constantly breaks the meta. He went from 270 to 170 post OTA with this. So turn one pass, and you pass because there's no one drops. Turn two, Zabu over Medusa. Zabu is like your key card. Turn three, if you played Zabu as Werewolf, is better than Iron Lad, if not Gladiator, for a turn two play. And the best turn two play is Zabu. If you're playing Thanos or anything that has a bunch of one drops out and you have priority, pretty please drop Killmonger and all that bullshit. Turn four, Werewolf is better than Iron Lad, and you can start, or if you played Werewolf, you can start moving stuff with on reveals. Turn five, Sarah opens up the broken turn six. If not, you can play your first tech card, usually Enchantress, to blow up whatever the hell they're doing. And turn six, on reveal tech cards as you need, or if you've got Sarah out, you can play Doom and a 2-drop. Doom and Shadow King is strong. Doom and Maximus is cool. A really powerful deck. You should play it. You should always play W deck. W decks are brilliantly easy to play and they win a lot, like always. All right. So I have a hip for Medusa. This Medusa is horrible. It's a pixel. I have the best Shadow King, the one where he's got the big shadow standing behind him. Looks sort of like a Max Creek, but it's not. I've got a hip for Zabu. I've got the Maximus where he's sort of reaching forward. I've got a hip for Killmonger. I've got a hip for Gladiator. I would go with Kim Jacinto, Shang-Chi, and Enchantress here. I've got the cool comic cover Werewolf. I've got a hip for Lad. I've got a hip for Sarah. And my current favorite Doom is the one that was in the recent bundle. But because I have I could also go gold because I have gold for both a Shang and Enchantress, a Zabu, Sarah, and a Doom. So that's 5 gold. So I might go gold. I want a gold Iron Lad. I'm in the process thereof. All right. Doom. Ignore that. Ignore that. Bounce. Oh, this is the bounce move we just talked about. Apparently, he kept the turn by turn. Sorry, he edited this part. This is the bounce move we just talked about. It is the Amano deck. Let's keep going. All right. This is our We Vote Wednesday deck. This is Woodward's Wings Antique Shop. This is a Captain America deck that's built fundamentally around getting a cheap scar. Is it great? Nope. But for a Captain America deck, it is damn good. And if you play it well, you will do well. How much Shang-Chi are you seeing in your meta? If the answer is meh, it's there sometimes, but not all the time, then you will win a lot with this deck. If you go, oh my god, Shang is everywhere, please don't play this. Shang will ruin your life with this one. Sorry, my phone thought I was talking to it and decided to pop up. Cool. The basic gist is Forge and Captain America let your 4 9s be 4 10s. Ronin basically always has 10, and that means you have a 2-cost Shang-Chi. If you have a 2-cost Shang-Chi, guess what? Sorry, 2-cost Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is the end of you. 2-cost Scar. If you have a 2-cost Scar, guess what? Your Maximus and your Shadow King are now OP. Cool. You can also 2-cost Scar with like a Forge and Gladiator at the end of the game, but you get the idea. Woodward is awesome. He was on the pod recently. Make sure you check that episode out. It was really great. Um, this is built for Scar. You're also going to need Gladiator since he's the only 3 in the game, and you have 3 4 drops, so you need Zabu. Sorry. So you win with the Scar Explosion here. Turn 1 Nebula. Turn 2 Zabu or Forge. If Forge is great into Gladiator here because guess what? 10 power. Um, turn 3 you want to drop Cap because then if you drop one of the 4s that becomes a 9. It becomes a 10. Or you can Forge for a 4, right? You can just forge on 3 to pre-set up a 4 to be a 10. If again you have neither, Iron Lad after Zabu. Cool. Turn 4, Jess or Rescue uncap, Forge, and either card. Simple enough. Jess or Rescue uncap, or Forge and either card if you've got that Zabu out, because that's 4. Turn 5, Ronin. Turn 6, Scar, Shadow King, Maximus. Joy. Really cool. If they don't have Shang, you just put so much power out, spread out, that it's really hard for them to compete. Congrats to the really cool deck for Phil. Such a cool person. All right, variant time. We're back to the. I decided to go almost hip free here. I can never bring myself to go fully hip free. But we did Ronin, Lad, and Gladiators are only hips. We've got Forge, the Hellfire Gala one, which I have 3 Forges, but this is the one I like. I decided to go with the most recent Spotlight Nebula. I like the colors on it. This is the Shadow King I was talking about. That's great. I went with Spotlight Zabu because we have Spotlight Nebula, so I figured not Spotlight, but Season Pass Zabu fit. Um, the Maximus I told you about earlier. This is my favorite Captain America and what perhaps my favorite variant in the game. If you animate this, it's got like a grainy background. It is so good. We've got Noir Just Jones, and then we need a Scar variant. We'll get there. Rescue, I'm waiting for the hip. I'm one more hip closer to hip complete, or at least hip complete for those that weren't bundles that I didn't buy. But Pixel Rescue, outside of the cards this month, Rescue is one of the last 2 cards with White Tiger I need good variants for. That day. Hip Rescue will come one day. All right, weekend mission deck time. So please don't try and play Miek with Scar. It's not a good combo. We're gonna have 3 Miek decks, including the best one from yesterday, and then 3 Scar decks. And if you're interested in Scar, like check any of my videos for the past like 3 weeks since he came out. There's just a bajillion good Scar decks. It's not hard to play them, and most of them, like some run Blob, but not all of them. Although Blob is still really good. Fair warning: if anyone's telling you Blob is dead, they are wrong. All right, this is Jim Dickens' Miek combo. This is the one that KM Best featured. It's a really solid Miek deck. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I think Miek combo decks are sort of a trap, but you can win with this, and it's one of the most stupidly fun decks in the game. Basically, you can go Dakin Wong and just get a huge Dakin. You can go Gambit Wong, kill a bunch of their board. But the idea is to go Wong Modoc with Helicarrier and Swarm in hand and make yourself a huge collector, huge Morbius, a huge Miek, and win the game that way. If you can do that, it's super duper fun and you enjoy yourself and you win. Is it going to happen often? Not unoften, right? Like, not impossible. And Enchantress ruins it, and Cosmo ruins it, and Shadow King can ruin it, and so on. But hey, YOLO. I like this deck a lot. This is probably what I'm gonna like finish it with. Like, not consistent, but really powerful. This is the best Miek deck. It is a standard discard list. Miek is fine in it, but he is anything but important. Um, if you want to know how to play this, check yesterday's video. It was a featured deck. This is, in my opinion, the best Miek deck. I think it's super straightforward and very strong. Also, you can tell how much I like it because it's got all the pretty variants in it. Next up, we have the Black Knight Miek discard. I think this is cool. That's why it's here. Um, Again, just like Black Knight is cool. You can, if it you get an Apocalypse from Black Knight, it's a I don't know, 12 power Apocalypse, I believe, which is the same deal as a Magneto. You can get the 10 power Helicarrier plus the extra cards to pump up Miek or Morbius, and you've got the 20 power Infinite. You've also got Ghost Rider and Dracula, Black Knight and Sif. So you've got plenty of ways to play. And if at the end of the game you just need your hand to be empty for Dracula, you've got Modoc. And you've got Modoc for obviously other reasons too. Modoc is just really strong kind of list. I like this list. Again, this is not great. These are all like mid 50% win rate decks, which is fine, right? But they're in lower sample. Usually that happens as like decks get a bajillion plays, not right at the start. So these are good decks, just not great decks. And they'll get you your weekend missions done. I don't know if I would try to use them to hit infinite. If I were, it would definitely be this one. I think this is easily the most consistent and easy to play of these decks. Okay. For Scar, I told you we were going to talk about Gunny T again. Big dumb idiots value shot up with the Blob nerf. This is where I would be for like a Shuri Sauron type deck. It's got armor so it can actually protect stuff. Got Quake for scamming wins. And it's got the new 16 power destroyer for the extra power. It's easy to get Scar down to 4 or 2 with this list. If you've got a 2 Scar, you've got Quake Maximus Scar. You can make that Shadow King if you're bad with Quake. And you can win that way. And this is just a ton of power that doesn't mess around. It does not need anything super duper fancy. It puts a crap ton of power on the board, and its winning cube rate are only going up, not down over time. So Gunny T hit top 500 in the world with this deck. So yeah, play it. We're gonna do a full guide again on this because he wrote up like an essay about it because he's like loves this deck. Cool. Uh, this is the best destroy deck in Marvel Snap right now. It is a destroy deck that happens to run Scar. It wins a lot. If you like Destroy, Miss Destroy, Scar is better in the list now because Deadpool, Venom, and Death can all be out early, leaving you a cheap or free Scar. If that happens, guess what? You probably won. Fury Sauron is again, I'm trying to find you cheaper versions of things you can play with Scar because again, we've talked about it so much. This is a nice, simple Shuri Red Skull deck. You can go Shuri Red Skull Taskmaster and win just like you always could. That is now again one of the biggest things to do in Marvel Snap, just like it used to be. And then we also have occasionally you like go Sauron Typhoid Mary or Atuma, right? And then you drop Taskmaster and you go, okay, I guess I'll just sit here with my 2 power Scar. And guess what? If you have a 2 power Scar, you can Shuri Scar on the last turn of the game. Enjoy. All right. This deck is stupid. Cool. I don't know how else to put it. This deck is completely bonkers. I want to put Odin in it for Black Cat. There's also a version that runs Black Knight and who remembers another 4 drop over it runs Black Knight and some, but whatever. And then that version is really, really good too. But this deck is silly. This deck is completely freaking stupid. This is like one of the best decks in Marvel Snap. If you get Lockjaw, you can snap. If you get Sif on Death, you can snap, right? If you get Jubilee, great. I really want to fit Odin into this because apparently when you double blob, when you Odin or Wong blob, and this might be a error, he just doubles in power. He doesn't eat again. He just doubles in power. I know for a fact that happened with Wong earlier, where he went from 24 with 2 cards in deck to 48, which seems good. So Wong would be good for that. It also says, oh, Hela popped out of Odin. Well, let's re-trigger Hela. It also says, I would like to trigger Jubilee again. I would like to discard again with Blade or whatever, which are all really, really powerful things to do. So I think that's good. You do risk with Odin popping out a Lockjaw and re-triggering like a Sif and fucking your Hela, but it's a Hela deck. There's variance. This is super high win rate and even higher cube rate. This is again one of the freaking best decks in Snap. Blob can be Iron Man here. You lose a bit because Blob is a lane winner alone. Samurai is the safest, but Moon Knight or Gambit work just fine. And Black Cat may want to be Scar. Doesn't have to be, but may want to be. I'm probably going to test this with Black Cat in the spot first, but not sure Scar might be it. Again, super high win rate no matter what. Like all the versions of this. I think this is one of the top 3 to 5 best decks in Snap right now. So, a conversation with Den and then a result from JD led to this deck. Den and I were talking about doing our top 10 decks, which we do for the podcast tomorrow. And he was like, Hella discard has been near the top of the meta, and it's had a good matchup even to Thanos and going over the top of things. Why aren't people playing it? And I was like, I don't know why people aren't playing it enough. And then JD happened to be like, Silver Samurai and Blob, here's a deck. This is stupid. And guess what? As always, JD Macdonaldinho is right. As always, Den pays so much attention to the meta. So turn 1 you pass unless you have a really good Blade target. You're perfectly happy to discard a big card with Blade, not Death, one of the other ones. Turn 2 pass unless Blade. Turn 3 Lockjaw plus a snap. If you have Lockjaw, you basically always snap. Or just drop a Sif if Death or not Hela are in hand. Turn 4 play into Lockjaw, or drop Jubilee if Hela is in hand, so you can't accidentally get rid of Jubilee. Sorry, so you can't usually accidentally get rid of Hela. Or Silver Samurai, pending the blob being the target. Turn 5, same idea as 4, but add Ghost Rider to the mix if you've got something good to bring back. And turn 6, Hela, or drop stuff into Shaw like a Jubilee to take a chance of seeing a Hela. Then you win, you collect your cubes, you giggle uncontrollably, and go home. This deck is great. Quick variant talk. Blade hip, Lockjaw hip, Sif hip, Jubilee hip, Blob hip, Magneto hip, Infinite hip. 7 hips, good to see. We've also got our gold Midnight Suns Death. I like it. I bought the Hella bundle. It was great value, so I did it. I got myself a gold Miles Morales from it, and I'm aiming for a gold of a new card. We'll talk about in 2 minutes. I bought enough to get the cool Spidey Black Cat. I also have the Noir, but there was no second Noir thing, so I went with Spidey thing. We've got the Silver Samurai. This is the only good Silver Samurai. I threw the Ghost Rider in from the bundle. We could run Jacinto, we could run Robbie Reyes, but this one's fine for now. And that's the variance of this deck. Play it. If you can get this deck, play it. You'll thank me later. I'll also get you some more tips on this relatively soon from our friend Robert Rivern. Robert is an absolute hella lockjaw master. Okay, so I have both Wolverine Spotlight X23, so I'm not buying an X23. I have Black Panther Shuri, Hip Shuri, and then another really good Shuri, two other Baby Shuri, and then another really good Shuri, the one where you can see her braids. So I have four great Shuris. I'm not buying another one for 1200. Thanks though. Hip for Shauna, Hip for Hellcow, Hip for Widow, Hip for Yondu. Captain Marvel, I have which one do I have? I thought I had Midnight Suns, but I obviously don't. Oh, I have the Peach Momoko bit, Captain Marvel, so I don't need another one at this point. I don't really like the Midnight Suns Captain Marvel. Don't know why, but I finally got Hit Bishop. Perfectly happy. I spent a lot trying to split it. I got a black and white with purple Kirby, but not yet a gold. Very, very happy to have Bishop, have extra hip add to the collection. So welcome to the family, Bishop. I also, because I had 10,000 credits suddenly, got three new variants. I got yet another Mr. Negative. This one's really nice, but I have the one sitting in the chair with like the lightning that I like better. I got this Electro, and this might be the best Electro. It looks really great animated with the hand electrically coming out at you. And I got this Ebony Maw. I don't like it very much. I have another Ebony Maw that I like much better. But hey, I got this really great Electro, so I ain't too sad. And I got a Bishop. Love to see it. All right, certain tiers of Patreon support come with on-air thanks every video. So here there, we got Models, Pretty Chill, Father Newman, Inc., No Flex, Mandatory Burnout, Matt Conduit 23, Good Dog Gamer, Kertix Lee, Mikey Hijinks, D.D. Winfield, Rob Silverman, Matt H., Robert Rivern, Abigail Gieslin, Why Oh a Message, come to think of it, Direwolf, Ocularis, Jay Navarrete, Mike Jones, Louis Antones, JD Macdonaldinho, we just featured, and Min, who's on the podcast that's releasing tomorrow. Thanks so very much. Patreons, if you'd like to be one, check us out at patreon.com/snapjudgments. Um, I think the move decks are legit. I think move is a real tier 1-ish deck in this meta, and that lockjaw deck is completely freaking bonkers. Cool. The W deck is completely untested by me at this point, but hey, W made it. It's probably great. Hit that sub. We'll be back Sunday with more for ya. You then appreciate y'all.